Madisa, Amandala, Uhuru, Hetep, Hetepet, Nukpa, Mangaliso Toure Geingob, Inyeji Sa, Heria Tef, Inyeji Uku. I'd like to thank Selma Ikela, news editor at OneAfrica Television, for inviting me to do this interview on this, the first anniversary of my father's transition to ancestorhood, His Excellency Dr. Hage Geingob. Selma has given me 5 questions on which to share my thoughts and reflections. And the first one reads, "It's been a year since your father's passing. How have you and the family been coping with his absence?" Each of us copes in their own way. Collectively, I think our healing is done through showing each other love and affection, being supportive, lots of remembering, reminiscing, reflections on our father, all those good times that you thought would never end, the laughter, his laugh. But most importantly, we are engaging in upcoming projects and opportunities that will continue our father's work to serve the people of Namibia. I think that has been our most effective coping mechanism. Question number 2. Your father was a significant figure in the country. How do you feel his legacy is being carried forward? That's a good one. Through his teachings, the teachings that resound in the institutions of government, at the universities, and in the communities of Namibia. His dedication, discipline, morality, and sacrifices are inspiring generations young and old. My father, your president, your teacher, your church member, your soccer fan, is enshrined in the hearts and the minds, the very soul of the people of Namibia. This is how his legacy is going forward. It is a living testimonial, a living legacy. Question number 3. What has your family learned or experienced in this past year that you feel your father will be proud of? I think our father has been proud of his family for quite some time, from the very beginning and inception of such. I think my father will be most proud of his family's collective efforts to further his work. In true spirit, Harambe, as his Harambe prosperity plan for Namibia reads, we are all pulling together in one direction, and I think that will be something that he would see from where he is right now and be most satisfied with. Very proud. Question number 4. Has there been a particular moment over the last year when you felt his presence or guidance despite his passing? There have been many moments when I felt my father's presence, his guiding spirit. This is a good one, yeah. Over the holidays and into the new year, my mother was hospitalized. And of course, that triggered the fears of losing another parent, the final parent. And I remember walking home late one night from the hospital, and something said something to me. And I was thinking about loss, and I kept hearing this persistent voice. And the voice said, "It's not a loss. You know where I am. You know where to find me. It's not a loss. It's a separation, a temporary one." And I thought about that. And I had a good walk to do, about 2 miles. And as I walked that evening, I thought about those words. And the voice upon which they spoke reminded me of my father. And it was the same voice that he used when we were talking one time. And we were laughing about people asking him his age. And we both were fond of a quote Muhammad Ali had said about don't count the days, make the days count. So my father and I would say, don't count the years, make the years count. And it was that voice that I heard that night walking. It is not a loss. You know where to find me. It is not a loss. It is a separation. So that helped me calm down, and it made me really value our tradition, our religion, our understanding of transition. And when I got home, or to my mother's house, I should say, I felt somewhat calmer and more resolved. And his voice was there. And that would be the best example I could think of in regards to how his presence is still being felt. There's another one too. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that all the outreach and outpouring and support from the many, many people of Namibia is his final gift to me as well. It speaks to me. I've been going to Namibia since independence, and never have I been so welcome, so received than I was last year. And I am humble and grateful for such acceptance. I think it was his spirit that permeated almost universally across our nation. And one of the things that spirit did was really connect me to the people in some very strong way. It was almost like an umbilical between my father, me, and the people. And that I definitely felt was all his doing. It had nothing to do with me. And I think that his spirit, his guiding presence was felt at that time. The beauty and love I found in Namibia is overwhelming. So I think I owe my father that as well. Question number 5. What do you miss the most about your dad? I miss a lot of things, but what stands out the most would be his downtime, especially his downtime in New York after the UN General Assembly. He always had a couple extra days he would stay there and visit family and friends. And on every occasion, we would, of course, have a dinner time with each other as a family. But after that, we would spend time talking. Sometimes we would go to a jazz club, which I really enjoyed. He got the jazz clubs I knew nothing about, probably couldn't even get in. But we would go to these very nice jazz clubs, and afterward, he would come. We'd go back to the hotel and sit down, have a discussion, and just be the two of us, late night. And as it got later, his voice would get lower. And I always thought he wanted to do that intentionally so that I would make sure I would pay attention and really take in what he was saying. And I think I'm going to miss those the most. Those were times that really radiated with me. And it became a ritual almost. For the last 9 years, I would say, we had a consistent meeting. I would meet him in Namibia in March, and he would be in the United States in September, and it went on for years. And it was a consistency that I'm definitely going to miss. And just having access to him in that manner, with that type of intimacy and closeness, that father and son bond, that's something I'm going to miss a lot. In closing, I'd like to say that we live in a world where a number of changes are happening at a time where our development as African people, as Namibians, is paramount to our thriving and growing and sustaining ourselves. So my father was instrumental in that. And without a doubt, I'm sure he calls upon each and every one of us as Namibians to do the same. We all have a part to play. We all have a role in the responsibility of handling our country and our nation in the most effective manner possible. And there are many paths to that. We won't go into that at this time, but my father's legacy is cornerstone, is and shall always be the betterment and upliftment of Namibia and its people. And for that, I am ever grateful. I'd like to thank, again, OneAfrica Television for inviting me to this, and I appreciate all their efforts.